we have the appropriate person with us to throw a lot of insight into the issue, mental health legislation and human rights. Over to you, sir.
Thank Dr. Jairam for the nice words, and it was a bouncer, really a bouncer. Every batsman afraid of bouncers, and straight away threw a bouncer at me. Well, my presentation will be the answer, and that will be followed by Dr. Soumitra Pathare. Let us see how I answered this question. So, persons with mental illness have long been subjected to cruelty, neglect, ridicule, and stigma. No one will doubt it. Human beings, by virtue of being human beings, are endowed with natural rights, which was denied over the history in various forms till date, even though a sea change have occurred in the concept and giving of human rights to poor persons. Untouchability was there. If you look at the history of Kerala, for centuries, people were so neglected and undignified to be touched upon by others. Till 1930, majority of the lower caste were not allowed to walk into the roads that leads to this temple, leave alone entry into the temple. And bullock cart were allowed to go into those roads after unloading the person traveling. Worse than animals. Going to South Africa, our poor father of the nation was thrown out of the railway compartment, even though he was holding a valid ticket, simply because he was not white. The beach and sea, whites only. Hopefully Uday Samudra is different. Look at that man who is in the gas chamber. Nobody listens to his rights. In America, who was telling a lot about human rights, put these bombs in Japan and see the tragedy. Those who know the history of psychiatry know the different cruel treatments imparted to them. And Hitler was dead. That could be taken as a turning point in the human rights. Trial was conducted. I believe majority you know about the Nuremberg trials, where 23 persons, Hitler could not be tried because he committed suicide. And importantly, no trial for atomic bombing. That is victor's justice. And it resulted in coding all four Geneva Convention into a very important document, namely the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You can identify the woman, Eleanor Roosevelt, wife of late Roosevelt. It took almost full 2 years, 81 sittings, 168 amendments to produce this important landmark in the history of human. She was promptly called, before she was called as the First Lady of USA, people started calling her the First Lady of the universe, the world. It was on December 10, 1948, it was introduced in the UN General Assembly. And that is why December 10 is considered as the Human Rights Day. It proudly and loudly declared, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights for all. no exceptions. The right simply because one is a human being. It cuts across the nation. Before the society was formed, man was an individual caring for his rights. After some time, the society emerged, and society, he thought, will help him to keep his right intact. And finally, the society formed a government to entrust that one's right must be kept intact. It's my right that the government gives certain benefits and my right to freedom are protected, and not the other way around, that it is a right to the government. No, it's a right to the person. It's universal and inalienable. It is interdependent and indivisible, equal and non-discriminatory. And along with the right, you have obligations. If you have the right to freedom, if you have the freedom to practice religion, you must protect the right of others to believe and practice the religion they believe. So it's equal, at the same time, right and obligation. So human rights are mainly of two types. One is negative right and other is a positive right. Negative right is I must be relieved from cruelty, punishment, unnecessary punishment. I must be relieved from the pain. That's called a negative right. The positive right is I am entitled for something. The negative right says the government should not do anything harmful to me. Positive right is that I should get wages, I should be employed, I should get the right for health, right to be educated. So this is ought to be done by the government. So 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights came into being, but it took 18 years. In 52, India was one of the country which objected that the social, economic rights are not uniform in the world. So the civil and political right must be distinguished from economic, social, and cultural right. And Universal Declaration of the Right was only a statement, consensus statement, that must be made into a platform or a method or a tool for all the countries to make laws. So it took 18 years. It was in 1966, 16th December, it was signed, and India ratified it on 10th of 79. So international covenant means agreement on civil and political rights. That's mainly the negative rights. Freedom from cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment, from arbitrary arrest, detention, etc. Right to a fair trial, right to autonomy. Economic, social, and cultural rights, right to health, housing, food, education, employment, social inclusion, and participation. Karel Vasek was a Czech jurist. He classified these human rights into 3 generations: the old woman, young lady, and her daughter. The first generation was civil, political, and human rights, which were encoded in the UN Declaration, Article 3 to 21. Socio-economic human rights, that was the second generation, which was covered in the Article 22 to 27, and the much softer, higher, collective developmental human rights. Civil political, the first rights are blue, meaning you are entitled. Socio-economic human rights are red, because for housing, education, things, the government must have resources to do it. But if it is made mandatory, the government will be put in. So the first generation, could be the norms pertaining to physical and civil security. For example, no torture, slavery, inhuman treatment, arbitrary arrest, and all are equal before the law. And political rights, for example, the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, freedom of assembly and voluntary association, political participation. These are first generation of human rights which are largely negative. Then comes the red bulb. Norms pertaining to the provision of goods meeting social needs. For example, nutrition, shelter, healthcare and education, and the economic needs. I must be given work. I must be given wages for my work. If I am unemployed, give me unemployment benefits. My social security must be ensured. This is very important because usual law will focus only on the first generation. Second generation, the government is silent because there is a red bulb. The government can any moment can be sued if it is made into a law. Collective developmental rights are green, meaning we should not consider human beings of the current generation. The future generation must be protected. Biodiversity has to be maintained. The natural resources must be maintained for the future generation. We should do our level best to see that the ozones are not pierced. They are very soft, very high human laws. Right to environmental laws, you must have heard about the Rio Declaration. Right to self-determination, right to development, right to peace. The ethnic, like biodiversity, the human being, if it becomes homogeneous, it will not be healthy. Like biodiversity, the ethnic groups must be protected and safeguarded. And after all this declaration came the terrorism and the counter-terrorism by America. Human rights are in papers. You know that girl. She was only 24 when she dragged a naked Iraqi soldier, violating all the human rights. You must have seen other pictures also, first asking the soldiers who are naked to masturbate, piling up all the naked soldiers, and she embracing her lover. So many, which shook the human conscience. So what is so special? Coming to the mental health care service, the human rights, still we have this poor person for the rest of the life is put under the closed cell. The Black Day, 28 inmates were burned to death. Exactly 11 years later, we saw Satnam Singh being murdered. And Mother Teresa came to our mental hospital and said, these people require only love and mercy, which was not even delivered to them. They were treated more inhumanly than animals. At least she made a revolution. They require love and mercy from you. In fact, it is their right. The violation of mental health is a lack of access to basic mental health care, inappropriate forced admission or treatment in mental health facilities. Till now we are doing it. Violation within the psychiatric institution, discrimination and violation of basic rights even outside the institution, inappropriate detention in prison. Informed consent is often not sought, maybe in the paper, but it is an involuntary thing. People are often forced to remain against their will for weeks, months, years in psychiatric institutions or other mental health facilities. happens within the institution. Rusting mental shackles, kept in caged beds, subjected to other forms of unhygienic seclusion for lengthy periods of time. They could never reach their homes. And the WHO is very particular. They are deprived of the civil rights. They cannot vote. They cannot marry and have children. They experience discrimination in all areas of life, including employment, education, and the right to shelter. Inappropriately detained in prisons. It's cruel. Interesting is for 25% of the countries which occupy about 1/3 of population, they have no legislation regarding these people. And out of those, 15% have national laws that were passed before 1960, even before the UN declaration was made into a legislation. You know the second person, she is the director of WHO. Mental health care law, 10 basic principles were introduced in 1996. Promotion of mental health and prevention of mental disorders, access to basic mental health assessment in accordance with the internationally accepted principles, not on their political philosophy, as it happened, the diagnosis of sluggish schizophrenia in Soviet Union. Provision of least restrictive type of health care, self-determination, right to be assisted for self-determination, availability of review procedures, that's very important, that must be taken care of, automatic period review mechanism, qualified decision makers, and respect of the rule of the law. Then came the revolution of this current 21st century. It was a convention on the rights of persons with disability, abbreviated as UNCRPD. On 13th December 2006, that was accepted and that was open for signature since 30th March 2007. India ratified it on the 1st of October 2007. India was the 7th country in the world and the first significant country to do so. And it entered into force on the 3rd May 2008. This is a revolution. India ratified it on the 1st of October 2007, and it was the dawn of a new era. It's legally, those who have signed must make law. Psychiatric disabilities are included among other disabilities for the first time. There was a shift in paradigm. What was the shift? Persons with disabilities are not viewed as objects of charity, medical treatment, or social protection. Instead, they are subjects with rights who are capable of claiming those rights and making decisions for their lives based on the free and informed. It's not charity, it is their right. It should be legalized. Rights, positive rights as well as negative rights. The concept of disability also changed. Disability is now a social construct, a dynamic interaction between the impairment. Maybe I am of low vision, maybe that I am paralyzed. This interaction with the environment, if you can provide an environment which can negate my impairment, I am no longer disabled. mobile phone with Braille. I'm not disabled. The concept is changing from a medical model to a subject with the right. He has the right to do to transact through ATM. It is their right, not your charity. Disability in psychiatry is more complex. Medical model versus a complex biomedico, psycho, socio, cultural, ecological model. You put everything, psychiatry is that. You must be cautioned regarding pathologizing normal behavior, myth of mental illness, or claiming that schizophrenia do not exist. Even grief, you are medicalizing, and people are very, very rude in medicinalizing grief. The simplistic model cannot be applied to psychiatry. No simplistic models. Albert Einstein said, every coachman and every waiter argues about whether or not the relativity theory is correct. It's very complex. And let us celebrate the complexity of our subject. This is the take-home message. From love and mercy, which forms a part of charity, it is now their right. The WHO Quality Right Projects, which is based on CRPD, the right for an adequate standards of living and social protection, the right to enjoyment of the highest attainable standards of physical and mental health, right to exercise legal capacity and the right to personal liberty and security of the person, freedom from the torture, cruel, inhuman, degrading form of treatment, the right to live independently and to be included in the society, community. It's the right to vote. The most important thing is how to legalize this positive right. The most mental health acts focus on the negative rights. That's also a modified advanced. Least restrictive care, involuntary detention, process, etc., etc. Don't mention the positive rights, including the right to health. Legislating the positive right, what happens, will expose the government to individual claims as well as a class action. It's fast gaining momentum. Okay, all these are paper victory. We will decide. After all, it's a state subject, health. UN will be there. Our foreign secretary must have signed our health law. UN convention can promote human rights, but state have to enforce them. Not legally binding till states amend laws. Limited enforcement machinery. Understaffed, UN is understaffed and underfunded. General lack of accountability by the states. Are paper victories? No. CRPD is much stronger than the MI principles. Mental health acts are being amended. We have to amend. We have to make a national policy to consider the positive right. We have to allocate the budget. We have to plan our resources accordingly and make it a law. In fact, reform starts with awareness raising. The consumer movements are gaining momentum. So national mental health policy must be made. Sad that India don't have one. I believe Soumitra Pathare is entrusted with the task of making a policy. Policy usually should precede a law. And in this context, the Mental Health Care Bill 2013 was presented in our Parliament, Rajya Sabha, on August 19. The conflict to advocate for the rights of the vulnerable groups like mentally ill, indigenous people, Adivasis, gay, lesbians, sex workers, and so on, or should remain a psychiatrist and not become social activists. Why the hell you want to become a social activist? Remain as a psychiatrist. Focus on dopamine receptors.
Mrityormamamritam